we know that they have these big compressors and stuff when they're moving the vehicle around, this sort of mobile GSE that they use, they hook up to the ships and boosters. That's to sort of keep them from crumpling in, right?
Without the pressurization, the ship and booster can still support themselves, but it's
Right.
like a soda can, right? When it is pressurized, it's a lot harder to, like, if you apply any loads to it, it's
Yep.
much more complicated to bend it, to deform it, and that is basically why they do that. It's because when they are pressurized, it's a lot harder for any kind of load that you apply on the vehicle to deform the actual structure of the vehicle, and so that way it has more life on it. It can survive for longer. That's good. That's what you want.
Makes good sense. All right. So the clock is continuing to count. We got distracted by the flyovers of the planes, and we are now less than 2 hours away from the opening of the window. I want to remind everybody
Oh,
it's a window. There's a little bit of time to work with today. I just heard Alex say, oh, so that means Alex has
I
something he
think the
wants to
plane
tell
is
us.
turning back.
Oh.
Or might be, I don't know. Maybe aligning with the wrong way. I don't know. It's sort of turning back east.
It's the confuse the media situation here where they're like, okay,
Yeah.
okay. They started to do something else, so fly the planes back around again and distract them again.
Yeah.
Anyways, folks, hey, really quickly, again, we mentioned it earlier in the show. More and more people show up. We're able to do this because y'all keep showing up and supporting us. It's not like we're all independently wealthy and we just get to go and spend our parents' money or anything like this. We have some people who do this full time, myself included. We have some people who are doing this as a part-time job. They come out here for events to help us out. We have some folks that are volunteers, like our SBL operators and stuff like that. And as a perk of being a volunteer, you might get to watch from River over there with the rest of the crew. But we're able to do this because y'all keep showing up and supporting us. We're not going to spend the entire show reading super chats or anything like that. But if you want to, I'll say, self-identify to other space nerds, we've got some stuff over in the shop to help celebrate Flight 12. I will start with this thing because I am a huge patch nerd, but delivered to the bunkhouse mailbox yesterday, I actually got my patch. I had my hoodie yesterday and I didn't have a patch until late last night. But I am super particular about how we make these patches. I don't want to go like look, okay, the patch, the edge border goes all the way around the back. It wraps around the edge with like an overlock. It's a special sewing machine that does that, and it makes the whole patch feel thicker because these are collector's patches, right? The embroidery, it's fully embroidered on the back. I feel like I'm on the Home Shopping Network, but whatever. I love patches. It's fully embroidered on the back, which means there's thread everywhere. It's not just like some little thin material because I want to have patches that we are proud to put out. And with the patch, we put in pad 2, we put in the different tower. We have the old tower in the background, the flames coming out the side. There you go, all that sort of stuff. But here's the deal. The reason I mention it is because I just got a message that we're less than 20% remaining. We just buy a certain amount, we put them in the shop, and we sell them until they're done, right? And we are under 20% on the patches now. So some people wait around and like, oh, I'll get one later. I'll get it. And then they send us an email like, oh my gosh, the patches are sold out. Can you make more patches? When will they be back in stock? And we have to tell them, well, we don't restock the patches usually. If patches aren't your style, we've got pins. We still have plenty of pins remaining. So you got to ask yourself, do you want a patch or do you want a pin? Either way, you better get one now before they sell out, because after the rocket launches, everything seems to disappear. And if you'd rather drink coffee or tea or something like that, or you want to wear a shirt or a hoodie, the sun shirts we have are fantastic. We actually sold a lot of the sun shirts that have the Flight 12 design on them yesterday. Fantastic. I have the Hawaiian shirt on. That's right. I have the wrong Hawaiian shirt on right now. I have my Dragon Recovery Hawaiian shirt, but we've got Starship specific Hawaiian shirts. And if you want to be sort of like business up front party, no, the Hawaiian shirt is party everywhere, basically. You can check out the Hawaiian shirts as well. But in any event, I'm not going to make the entire show about it. We think that it's super cool. We sit there and we argue about like, well, is that patch exactly accurate? Like, is that arm in the right place? Is the Starship diving the right way it's supposed to dive before we even put it on the merch? But by grabbing that stuff, you can get some cool stuff to wear. You don't have to wash clothes another day because you got another t-shirt that you can wear. Ask me how I know, because that's how we've been living out here at Starbase. We need more merch so we don't have to do laundry as often. But it is a great way to support what we do. We will let you get back to it, and let's get the rocket back on the screen. We really appreciate y'all supporting everything that we're doing out here. So we're counting down, Alex. I'm going to come back to you. It's T minus an hour and 48 and change. How are we looking?
Well, everything seems to be a bit different now. The tower vent sort of stopped a little bit ago. And the thing that worries me is that we saw a Cybertruck going down the road. And you can see there that tower vent is now stopped.
In which direction? Towards the pad?
Towards the pad, yeah.
Okay.
Going down the road to the pad. After seemingly having cleared already the launch pad. And I don't know, Das. Usually we do see that the tower vent, so to put it in perspective, after the tower vent starts, it does sort of go out and then come back and then disappears and then comes back. It's a whole thing. We saw this yesterday as well many times. But when we say it sort of disappears, it's more like it turns into just a little bit, like a trickle. Like you open the tap on your faucet, like just a little bit. And there's like drops of water coming out. This pretty much looks almost like it's completely closed off. It's a different behavior than what we saw yesterday. I don't know what this means, but I don't like it. How about that?
So Alex, normally, like, remind me from yesterday, the tower vent is supposed to continue going for much longer than we just saw it vent, correct?
Yeah, it goes basically until the ship liquid oxygen load starts. That is the final time that it disappears, and then we go into the liquid oxygen load of the ship, which is the very first thing that they do in this countdown for propellant load at T-minus 38 minutes and 53 seconds. I was reading the wrong thing. But that's basically the whole point, that they keep those tower lines chilled down for well over an hour, and then they start that propellant load sequence. The concern that I have here is precisely that we saw it completely go away, that Cybertruck going down the road to the launch pad after seemingly having cleared the launch pad. Not great.
Okay, well, we'll keep watching. We got cameras out there. We have plenty of solar power. Most of the cameras we have are solar powered, sort of off-grid camera sites or deployable systems that soak up the energy from the sun. So unfortunately, I am also soaking up energy from the sun. It's good for our cameras and power. It's bad for my face. But we are going to continue covering what is going on at the tower for Starship's Flight 12. Again, that tower vent that we expected to continue venting for a little bit longer has stopped. And we saw somebody driving a Cybertruck out to the pad. So we will watch the social medias. We'll see if we get any official information from SpaceX. And of course, we'll share it with you as soon as we've got it. So I think here we have a little bit of a recap video, don't we? I think we do, that we can run. I'm being told it is a timeline of what we can expect. That also gives us a little bit of a chance to get some water real quick. So let's roll the video, and we will be right back.
While Flight 12 will debut a new rocket version and a new pad, a lot of the pre-launch procedures are still the same. After all, you don't want anyone close to the rocket when it's time to go. For that reason, there are a series of maritime, aerial, and ground closeout areas that are enforced on the day of the launch as the clock counts down to 0. In the air, a set of temporary flight restrictions and notices to airmen are issued for the day of launch. On the water, a similar set of restriction areas and navigational warnings are issued as well. These areas are not only noted to cover the initial rocket's ascent, but also to cover the ship's re-entry area halfway around the world in the Indian Ocean. SpaceX works alongside the U.S. Coast Guard and the Federal Aviation Administration to coordinate their clearing ahead of launch. On the ground, a set of 3 roadblocks have been set up along Highway 4, the only road that leads to Starbase and its launch site. These roadblocks allow for the clearing of the beach and areas surrounding the launch site and restrict access to the pad in the lead up to launch. This close to launch, most of these areas should be clear, and we should be getting closer to the start of propellant load. Ahead of that propellant load, the tank farm will be chilled down and conditioned to prepare for that process. The tank farm is split into a liquid oxygen side and a liquid methane side. From what we've seen so far, the chill down of the oxygen side could start several hours before propellant load, and it may have already started by the time we play this video. Chill down of the methane side of the tank farm often starts closer to propellant load. During the conditioning process, we'll see vents, just like last time, but they'll be a bit different. In this new tank farm, all of the venting from conditioning the liquid oxygen pumps and subcoolers is routed to a single location where a fan blows this venting upwards. In the case of the gaseous methane created as a result of chill down of the methane side of the tank farm, it'll be condensed back into a liquid and returned to the storage tanks. This reclaiming system will also be visibly venting and will give us an indication of when this process is underway. With the tank farm conditioned, it'll next be time to condition the propellant lines that go to the launch mount and tower. For the previous pad, there was a vent on the launch mount that indicated when this happened. Now, instead of venting it off the mount, there are a series of pipes located closer to the tank farm that vent when this process is underway. There is still a tower vent, though, and while we're still learning its behavior during countdown, it appears to work similarly to the one that we saw on the first pad. It first starts weak and vents for a few minutes, then dies out and nearly disappears for another few minutes, to then return again much stronger. The vent will then completely disappear right before propellant load starts on the ship. At T-minus 50 minutes, the flight director will pull operators to proceed into propellant load operations. Propellant load will start at T-minus 38 minutes and 53 seconds, with liquid oxygen going into the ship first. About 4 minutes later, the liquid oxygen load will begin on the booster. The process will then move into liquid methane load on both booster and ship a few minutes later. As you might have figured out by now, this propellant load starts much later in the count compared to the previous flights, all thanks to the improved tank farm capabilities. As the tanks get loaded with their propellants, the outer walls of the tanks will show visible frost rising up the rocket, a neat indicator of the propellant fill levels. This process is in fact so much faster now with this second pad that it almost looks like you're watching a time lapse. During propellant load, the Raptor engines that will be used for flight will be chilled down and conditioned. This process should start at about T-minus 21 minutes and 30 seconds. We'll know when propellant load is finished not only because SpaceX will confirm it, but also because we'll see a series of purges of the launch mount service structure that will serve as indicators. The ship quick disconnect arm will also be purged and vented out as it gets ready for liftoff. Let's cross our fingers for no leaks and no valve issues. We all know that those aren't great if we want a launch attempt today.
Good deal. Y'all, I got to give a quick shout out to Alicia. In the video that you just saw, that's Alicia Siegel. She does a weekly show with us that's This Week in Spaceflight. Every Friday, like clockwork, Alicia is there recapping the news of the week for you. And it's not just SpaceX. I know we get a ton of people who are super excited about Starship, SpaceX, Falcon 9, that sort of thing. But we also, we're media. We cover everything that's going on with space. Other companies' developments, Rocket Lab doing things, Gilmore over in Australia, news out of different countries, European space flights. Every single week, we produce a video that gives you a quick update, like 15, 20 minutes worth of update news as to what's going on in the rest of the world for all the other things. And if there's big Starship news or Falcon 9 or something like that, that gets included as well. But if you really do want to keep up with everything that's going on, I think people just don't know what those videos are. It's like This Week in Spaceflight. What's that? If you click on that, you're going to get a little bite-sized rundown of everything that happened in spaceflight over the last week and a little preview of what's coming up next week. Sometimes we get comments that are like, hey, why does her background have New York City in it? Well, that's because Alicia is in New York City. And so when she does the show, we give a little blurred background of New York behind her because we've got people all over the map. We've got folks in other countries. I mean, even on the show today, Alex, you're in Spain. Ryan, you're in the UK, right?
That is correct.
As they both nod their heads. as far as you know. Thank you, yes.
I guess something has changed in the last few minutes, maybe. I'm pretty sure I'm still here.
So just on the show today, we've got 3 people from 3 different countries and 3 different physical locations. And we've got folks from all over the map that come together to make these shows happen. These shows, whatever you want, their coverage, whatever you want to call them, these rocket live streams. So in any event, check out This Week in Spaceflight. I personally don't think that video that we make every week gets nearly enough love. We put a lot of work into it, making sure it's fact-checked and making sure that it's got relevant information. So give it a check out sometimes if you're looking for things to watch on a Friday. Now, counting down, continuing here. Did we get eyes on that Cybertruck going in any direction, one way or the other? Alex, did we get information on where it may have went? Is somebody up there banging on a valve with a hammer?
I forgot one little aspect of launch days, and that is the helicopter site right in front of our highway lawn. It appears that's where the Cybertruck went.
Okay.
Yeah. I completely forgot about that. And it's not really easy to forget because the helicopter does tend to put on a show sometimes. But yeah, it went down to the helicopter site. You know, the place we saw yesterday where they refuel that helicopter that
Yep.
they use for the range. And so maybe they're about to do a final sort of refueling. There's some people out there preparing potentially for that. So maybe the helicopter will come to that landing site for the helicopter.
I can
refuel,
confirm
and
that
then go
one
out
of the
again.
two range helicopters is circling over the production site right now at 400 feet, and that's the route they usually go when they're coming in to land and refuel. And we've got
Yeah,
a
there it
camera
is.
on the site right now, so within the next half a minute or so, expect a helicopter to come into land.
I still don't
You'll
like
probably
the
hear
fact
it
that
on the
we.
microphone as well.
Yeah, I still don't like the fact that we don't have the tower vent. Like it was there,
Right.
and then it disappeared. And in fact, the vent is part of the chill down and all that, so the pipes get frosty. That frost has disappeared. So that is the thing now that I don't like. It does seem that the pad is still clear, and I was wrong there to assume that these Cybertrucks were going down to the pad. I saw them going down the road, and I completely forgot that there's this thing that they do with the range helicopter,
Well, it was
and so I
coincidence.
assume it went all the way to the pad. Yeah.
Yeah, you saw something that was out of whack, out of spec. The tower vent stopping early got your attention, and then you also saw a Cybertruck driving that way, and it just made you sort of think like, wait
Yeah.
a second. But there we go. We got it on the camera. You know what I want to know? At that site yesterday, we had a camera fall over. The little tripod is a super wide camera, and it fell over. I wonder if the helicopter blew it over. Perfectly possible. The helicopter is like right next to us. We're gonna have to secure the cameras better when we put them just off. You can even see a camera in the front of that one shot. There's a bagged
Yeah.
camera with a white bag to waterproof and reflect some of the sun right there. We of course did a better job of battening them down today, like connecting them to the ground, weighing them down. But I wonder if that's why we had a camera tip over yesterday. Usually we've gotten pretty good at making sure those things don't tip over, but I'm not gonna say that they're helicopter proof. In any
I suppose the
event,
helicopter produces quite a lot of wind, and
Yeah.
you know, wind
Downwards
is not
wind.
good for cameras.
turns into sidewards wind when it hits the ground and then goes towards the camera. And I'll have to ask. Dee's camera is the one that was. I'll see if it fell in the direction one would expect if it was helicopter prop wash going out in that direction. But right now, the clock is continuing to tick. Just over an hour and 30 minutes from the opening of the window. Even if the vent is not continuing to go, remember it's a launch window today. We did get that last official information from SpaceX saying that the weather and the winds were looking good. So is there a GSE related issue going on right now or not? We're going to keep watching all the vents. We're going to see if anything happens, vehicles going out there, somebody approaching the pad, and we will check in as soon as we have any more information. Ryan, let's go back and see if we can't get a question over in chat. Remember, if you got questions for us, tag us at NASA Spaceflight in chat.
the
There goes
helicopter.
there's the helicopter wind. Look at that.
Speaking of, a very expedited landing and touchdown it looked like there. They kind of just got the skids on the ground and then cut the engines and slammed into the ground. But it's on the ground. Any landing you can walk away from is a good landing, right?
It came in a little horizontal there, it looked like. If that was
Yeah.
a moon lander, it would have tipped over.
Good thing we have 100% Earth gravity and not 1/6 Earth gravity to play with in Starbase. We had a question from Robert Game Plays asking any comments on the 5 sustainer engines for hot staging and 33 for boost back. Was this expected and would this cause more questions based on the timings on SpaceX's website? Alex, I saw some things about this yesterday. I'm not 100% sure what SpaceX announced, but do you have any more insight on that?
Could you repeat it, please? Sorry, I was trying to look at because yeah, there's other things going on as well about this flight on X. There's an Elon post. I don't know if we're gonna show that, but anyways, can you repeat it, please?
If there are any comments on the 5 sustainer engines for hot staging and the 33 engines for the boost back burn, was this expected and would this cause more questions based on the timings on SpaceX's website?
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that is quite interesting. That was part of the commentary yesterday from SpaceX. Sort of their updates that they do. It was a bit surprising about the because for hot staging, what they explain is that for the previous version, we saw 30 of the 33 engines shutting down before hot staging, and then 3 engines will remain, right? And then they will do the flip and relight the middle ring of 10 engines for the boost back burn, and so the boost back burn will be 13 engines. What they explain is that there are 5 sustainer engines for whatever reason. The only other time that I've heard that is like Atlas missile sort of thing, sustainer engines and whatnot. So 5, they'll shut down 28 engines instead of 30, and so they'll remain with just 5 during hot staging, and then somehow for boost back burn they're lining up all 33 engines. So the 28 that shut down will return for that boost back burn. I'm sure it's not gonna be 33 engines for the entirety of the boost back burn. They'll probably shut down engines as they go through the boost back burn. It's 1 minute long, and I don't think they have really that propellant, that quite amount of propellant to be able to fire all 33 engines for an extra minute after having already powered through 2 minutes and 11 seconds of ascent. And so that is quite interesting what we saw, what they said yesterday. I'm not sure if it was misspeaking or something like that, but I would not be surprised if that was actually the case, and that SpaceX really is attempting to really push the boundaries of how much G's can a rocket booster take. Breaking news.
Uh-oh. Here goes the breaking news stinger again.
That's
Looks
the
like we
Elon
got
tweet.
Yeah, the tweet from Elon. This is what you're talking about, isn't it, right?
Yeah.
Or Alex?
Yeah, he confirms still T0 being 5:30 p.m. Central Time, or Texas time. I guess Central Time doesn't exist in many other states, I guess.
Somebody needs to reply
yeah.
to him and say the tower vent disagrees.
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes they've been doing these chill downs quite quickly. Sometimes if they really want to power through those, they might be able to. But it's weird because it usually starts a little bit earlier. Yesterday it started a little bit later, and then it also turned out that the launch also moved later into the window.
Yep.
So we'll see what happens, Elon.
But it is that hour-and-a-half window, so just like we saw yesterday, we got a couple 30-minute slips originally, so we'll continue to watch things, and we will report back here. Real quick, we're going to go through, and we're going to catch up with some things here, but mods are going to kill me. They know what's coming. I'm curious. One of the reasons we do this is because we want to help share what's going on with folks all over the freaking planet, right? It's not just the people that are here in Texas. It's not just the people in Brownsville. It's not just the people in any given state or anything like that. We've got folks watching from all over the world. So we're going to not play a game. I'm just going to ask you a question. It's not a game. There's not a prize or score or anything. In the world right now, where are you watching the stream
They were already
from?
answering.
I know. They knew it was coming. They've watched the stream before. I'm going to try to look at the live fire hose of chat, and I'm going to try to answer or just read some of these back as they go through. But tell us in chat right now where you are watching from. Wow, it is bright out here. I should have thought about that. South Africa, Sweden, California, Lodi, California, Paris, France, Switzerland, Belgium. Turn up some volume. Oh, turn the heli volume down. That's not the heli volume. I think that's some wind blowing through a microphone. Canada, European friends in there, Costa Rica, Netherlands, Michigan, New York, Malta, Sweden, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Finland with lots of D's after it. Okay. NYC, Poland, undisclosed location. Very clever. Nice. You think so, but you're connected to the internet. Oklahoma City, we've got New Zealand. There's a super chat that came through. Amp Boat 7672 said New Zealand. Corpus Christi, Texas. Jeffrey Drees 1254 is from Corpus Christi. I went to Cal Allen, Jeffrey. I grew up over that way out on the Robstown side of things and went to Cal Allen High School long ago. Denmark, North Carolina, Austria, some messages held for review I'm not going to tap on. Poland, Florida, Michigan, again, Trinidad, Tobago, hadn't seen that one yet. We've got Spain, you've got some friends there, Alex. Kenya, I don't know if I've seen that one before. I'm pretty sure the moon is not a valid answer because Moonlink is not up there yet. Not sure how you'd be watching. Paisley, Scotland. Scotland's nice. India, Florida, all across the map. There was a Kerbal Space Program, Kerbal Space Center somewhere in there. Here's one. It was a super chat for $101. Ethan, whoa, Saber, can you grab that patch? It blew away. Ethan Sin did $101 saying, coming back for day 2, left work early in Orlando, Florida to watch your amazing team bring this to life. I'm going to click the little thumb next to that. Thank you, Ethan, for the $101. I'm literally reading these on my phone, and there's no way I'm getting them all. We've got Renee Abe, I think from Brazil. $2 from Brazil. Anyways, folks, it's a cool thing to sit here and, I'm standing on top of this hotel at South Padre Island. We've got all these cameras plugged in. It's definitely not just us. We've got folks all over Starbase. We've got folks on our own team all over the world who are making these things happen, but we do it because we want to bring it to y'all. We want to let y'all see what's going on. So we do appreciate everybody, wherever you're watching from, tuning into the show. If you're watching from somewhere around the world, there's a little thumbs up thing, right? You can like the stream. If you haven't yet, click the little thumbs up for us. That tells YouTube, like, hey, this is kind of a cool thing. Maybe some other people would want to come see this. I don't know how many thumbs up there are on the stream right now, but I imagine with this number of people watching, y'all could make that number go way higher. I cannot read that in the sun. Jeez, it is bright out here. Alex, can you see how many likes the stream has?
Hang on, because I actually have to refresh.
You can read?
Let me see. About 5.7 thousand.
There's still
I have
30.
an update.
Okay.
That we can see right now on our screen. Go back to the other one. There you go. Tower Vent is back. So that's great news.
Good deal. Just about halfway up the tower, you
on.
see the little plume going to the left. It looks like the tower has sprung a leak. Kind of. It's an intentional leak, but that's the tower vent that Alex is talking about, right, Alex?
I'm seeing now 6.5, so that's about 800 more likes. At least
do better than that. There's 36,000 people watching, and only 6,000 of them actually like the show. What are we doing wrong?
Needs to be at least something.
It needs to be at least something. No, can you imagine NASA like official commentary doing something like that? Whatever, we can do what we want. So the tower vent going like gangbusters again. Maybe Elon did the tweet saying that the flight time was still on and then realized the tower vent wasn't going and told somebody to turn the thing on to get the flight going. But that is what we want to see. And Alex, here on this view, we're going to start to see that pipe turn white, aren't we?
Yeah, the vent, of course, gets frosty the first. But then there are two different lines. Come on, venting. Don't get in the way. I want to use
like right
this
in front of the
view.
cameras. Look at that.
Yeah, there are two. So there's the body of the quick disconnect arm itself. There's the actuator as well. And right now we can see there that helicopter flying off. Hopefully for a last time.
All right.
Before the launch happens.
Going out to continue clearing the range, making sure the range is all clear of boats and parasailers and that sort of stuff.
Exactly. So there are two main lines, the one for oxygen and the one for methane. Those will get frosty, will turn white as we get closer to propellant load here. There are two lines. How to explain it? There's like the actuator, that big sort of cylindrical thing attached to the tower, the corner of the tower that we can see right over that vent. That actuator is sort of cylindrical right over the vent. There's a squiggly pipe, if you will, quite thick but squiggly pipe right above that. That is the one, if I'm not mistaken, for oxygen. And then there's one, you can see where the vent is located. There's another one like that right below it. That should be the one for methane. So those two will get frosty, will turn white basically as we get closer and closer here. I wish it was my background instead. I'm not as fancy as Ryan, so I cannot do it, but yeah, maybe in another time.
Maybe in another time. Nice. And that's what we need. We need to get the telestration turned back on so you can like circle the vent when you're talking about a specific vent.
Yeah.
Or line or whatever.
I guess I could turn into the vent man, you know, in a future
vent
flight.
Man?
Yeah, I can just get up and do the whole thing with the green screen and all that stuff that Ryan does.
I'm gonna send you a shirt that says Alex the Vent Man.
I already have my falconologist.
Your
jacket.
falconologist shirt, nice.
Yeah.
All right. So the clock is continuing to tick. That venting coming from the tower is definitely welcome sight that we want to see. The beach is actually starting to fill up. More and more people packing down at the southern end of the South Padre Island beach there. Got some folks with their sunshades and that sort of thing, but more and more people will be coming into there. I imagine at some point we'll also see some vehicles filling into Isla Blanca Park. If you're down here and you're looking for a place to watch the launch from, the beach right there is fantastic. You can go in, you can pay to park at Isla Blanca Park. It's a public park down at the end of South Padre Island here, and you get a parking space, you get a place to go and hang out. There's going to be a lot of people down there, so if you're trying to get a parking space, you may want to get there sooner rather than later. All right. I think we've got some more information. A lot of the times we get folks asking us, like, hey, where's that rocket going? Right? Which way is it going? Can I see it? Is a question we get a lot of the time. I believe we could check in with Ryan, who can help us understand what today's flight trajectory is going to look like.
Indeed. Today's flight trajectory is going to be a little bit different than what we have seen before, because Starship is flying a little bit more to the southeast than previous the 11 previous flights, I should say. And we've also got a little bit more of a hook on the end of the re-entry, which will be really interesting to take a look at when we get an opportunity to take a look at that. Fingers crossed in a moment. We'll be able to take a look at that.
So the very beginning of
there we go. Let's take a look at the re-entry.
Yeah, here we go.
So fingers crossed, all going well. This is where Starship is going to end up. It's going to be coming in from Africa, heading over Africa, over the Indian Ocean, and then it's going to be heading actually technically northeast when it gets to this part of the flight. And this is the re-entry air hazard area. This is to make sure that planes are out of the way. And if you imagine in your mind an imaginary dotted line running directly through the middle of this kind of corridor which has been carved out for Starship, you can see at the end here there's a little bit more of a hook. It kind of hooks down at the end like that. This replicates, we believe, what SpaceX intends to do when they want to come into Starbase, because when they get when ship gets caught in the tower, they're actually going to come from the north, fly over the tower, and then end up in the chopsticks. So if you can imagine here, they're heading to the north, and then they're going to hook down from the north and then do a splashdown, kind of simulating. We saw that banked profile on the previous flight with the last version 2 flight, so fingers crossed we get to see that again with those views from Starlink on the first version 3 flight. But the launch trajectory is also something very interesting to take a look at, because if I move over to this side, we can see the brand new inclination they're flying to. Before, that previous corridor was going a bit more to the north. It was heading between Florida and Cuba. This time around, it's going a bit more southeast. It's threading the needle here between Cuba and the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico. So this may look like a big change. It's only a couple of degrees inclination. This one was about 26. This one's about 28, so a little bit of a shift. Couple of reasons why they might have done that. One of the reasons is because this trajectory here is a little bit closer to the Starlink operational trajectories, which they'll obviously want to be hitting shortly when they are prepared to go for these full orbital flights once they wrap up their suborbital test campaign. Another reason is that the air traffic between this part of the world and this part of the world is a little bit busier than the air traffic between this part of the world and this part of the world. So by going to the southeast between Cuba and Central America, that might disrupt less air traffic. And one more thing, I added the button. Let's take a look at the full trajectory as we head off from Starbase, because of course Starship is going to be flying over the Caribbean, heading towards the Atlantic Ocean. And marked on here are the events. So where will things be happening? Well, here over the Atlantic is where the Starlink simulators are going to be getting deployed. As we approach Africa, over the coast of the border between Namibia and South Africa is when that Raptor relight will be taking place. And then as we head over to the Indian Ocean, that is where we will hit entry interface. And then after 10 minutes or so, we'll be headed into splashdown, 1 hour, 5 minutes and 26 seconds after launch. You can also see there on the trajectory the little hook as it kind of pretends to fly into the catch tower at Starbase. So this is going to be very exciting to see. Of course, it all bets that Starship actually makes it that far. This is the first flight of V3, but fingers crossed.
Positive thoughts. We're going to put positive thoughts into the universe, and also we're hopefully going to put a Starship into the universe today as well. Ryan, I got to ask, do you do all of that animation and stuff yourself? This isn't like a 20-person graphics team who makes these and you just talk about them. You made that, didn't you?
100%. All me. One-man band. Doing it all. Pressing
You
all the
even have
buttons.
a button on your phone you press like you're on the news to make that start playing. Is that what that was?
Yes, yep. I have buttons on my phone. I have screens in front of me, and just some memorization to remember what you've actually done. Because sometimes you make graphics and then don't realize that where you're actually standing is where the text is. So sometimes you have to go to one side or the other side to make sure that you don't stand in front of the text. So that's as you can tell, if I dart left and right, that's me trying to get out of the way of the text that's on the graphic.
You're trying to dodge the text. Nice. Folks in chat, give Ryan a round of applause or something like that. That's one of the cool things here. Like, we have all this opportunity to do cool stuff. Nobody sat down one day and said, hey, Ryan, your job is to make this. Like, right, you just came up with the idea to make some of those animations and graphics and then stand in front of them on the stream. So thank you so much for showing up and doing cool stuff for us. Chat, do the same thing. Ryan's really cool. The clock is continuing to tick down. Alex, the tower vent is sort of weak right now, but that's what is expected? Question mark?
Yeah, it's still going, and I think I see a bit of frost on the methane supply line to the arm, the one at the bottom of that vent. So that is great news.
All right, well, keep an eye on all the different lines and stuff like that, and let us know if you see anything else of note. But currently, preparing the tower, conditioning the lines, getting things ready so that when they roll those super cryogenic propellants through them, the super cold propellants, they don't crack open lines or damage valves or anything by thermally shocking them. We talked a little bit about that yesterday. Gave a couple different examples of how you take your ice out of the fridge and the ice cubes start to crack. You hear them, you can actually see little cracks on it. Sort of the same thing, roughly in reverse. Just a thermal change in too quick of a time can cause components to have issues. Thermal fatigue can happen. You can get cracks or holes and that sort of stuff. And so all of the venting that we see on the tower, when we talk about thermally conditioning, they're trying to make those, basically they're trying to make the pipes colder. We don't need to use a bunch of technical terms and try to make it sound complicated. They're just trying to make the pipes cold so that when they put the super cold propellant in, the pipes are ready to handle them. So, continuing on here, Ryan, do we have another set of questions that we can potentially get to, please? Again,
we have a couple.
Yeah, go ahead, Ryan.
We have a couple questions coming in. First of all, James is asking, do we have anyone with cameras in Cancun? I don't believe we have anyone in Cancun, but I can neither confirm nor deny that we might have some other cameras. We'll just have to wait and see what pops up, I suppose. One reason to stay tuned to the stream to see what might be coming as we get towards launch, Just saying. And Score Graphic is asking, will SpaceX booster so it certainly goes kaboom, or will it softly land in the water? Alex, I'm not sure if this is something SpaceX has confirmed, but they've kind of, if this flight is to be like the previous flights, they've dropped the booster in the water, making a kaboom, right?
It is a great question in this case because for some reason SpaceX didn't specifically say that they are blowing up the booster on purpose, whereas for the last 2 times they did. Like they really did say we're cutting off that landing burn up in the air. So there's arguments both sides. The first one about cutting it off at altitude and then making it drop is because, well, you want it to explode, don't become a hazard on the ocean and things like that. On the other hand, though, we've seen them fishing out boosters in the past. Not the whole booster, but components. And some of the components that they have been interested on before has been the engine section. And for this flight in particular, they're flying a whole new engine and a whole new engine section, right?
Yep.
So, I will not be surprised if they actually intentionally do a soft splashdown of the booster all the way down to the surface of the water. Like, not having it drop from an altitude and then make it break apart, but rather actually soft splashdown and see if it survives, and then they can sort of grab those engines and look at them. And then they can deal with all of the other stuff and all of the other pieces of the booster. I will assume that now with that thick transfer tube in the middle of the oxygen tank, there's a good chance that it survives in much better shape. But we'll see.
I think that's a good point, Alex. You know, in the past, we've seen them and they do a splashdown, but they intentionally destroy it, sink it, et cetera, because it's like, if we recover it, what are we going to do with it, right? But
Yeah.
here, I think it's a great point with the new engines, the new engine section, the new Mark III, Block 3, V3 booster, et cetera. Maybe it does make sense to try and get it back with minimal damage and recover it, bring it back on a barge or something like that, so the engineers can go over it with a fine-tooth comb and get more data on exactly how that thing performs. So I guess we're going to see. Usually when these things come down, we are able to track them all the way down to the horizon, and we sort of see their fate. It'll be very interesting to see what happens with the booster today if we get a launch coming up in about 1 hour and 13 minutes, it looks like.
Yeah, there's. I will add one other fun fact, if you will, to this whole thing that we're talking about. When, for example, Booster 13 did its offshore divert, they were expecting to catch it, but unfortunately the tower did not cooperate, and so they had to dump it in the Gulf. And so what happened is that afterwards it did explode. It sort of break apart in the middle.
Right.
But the oxygen tank was still so big, like the length of the booster from the end of where the engines are located all the way to the top of the oxygen tank is so big, it's like 30 meters or so. The water is not that deep. Like the thing
It's not that deep.
Exactly, it kept sort of touching the bottom. The whole thing just like it tried to sink, hits the bottom of the floor of the water, and then it jumps up again, and then it sinks again, and it touches it
It
and
kept, like,
bounces back
slamming
up.
against the base of the bottom of the water because
Yeah.
it's not that deep out in the Gulf.
Exactly.
this
And
close
this
to
thing
shore,
is
at least.
huge.
Yeah. You gotta install like a booster lighthouse out there. Like it touches down softly, but then it sinks straight down and it rests on the ocean floor, and the top half of it is still sticking out of the water. That would be a sight to see. That's
Yeah.
not the official plan. We're just sort of like making things up there. But looking up the tower, we're doing a little bit of an inspection pass right now. It looks like got the tops of the chines, got some vents up there.
You can see some propellant lines already frosty. They're white.
Inside the, yeah, right there in the middle, that
Inside the
elbow
tower.
macaroni shaped thing, right?
Yeah.
Alex is like, really? It's a propellant line. It's not a macaroni, but you can see it. It's right there. It looks
Yeah,
like a
I
mini
get your
U-boat.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Got the raceway going up the side there. Let's see. This is a very slow tilt up. Where did I'm gonna guess they parked the tower elevator at the bottom during launch, right?
Most likely. They still have stairs, internal stairs, all the way up to the tower, to the top of the tower. You can see some places. This part, for example, you can see one of the propeller lines. It's only frosty in some portions, and that is because where it is not frosty, it's like a portion of the line that is vacuum jacketed. It's sort of like a flask, I guess, where it's like you have a two double layer sort of thing, and in the middle you've got vacuum, right? And that insulates, thermally insulates the liquid. It's sort of it's harder for it to be warm up.
Gotcha. Now here we're getting all the way up to the top, and you can see more frosty lines sort of sticking off to the right-hand side, right? That go out to that arm.
Yeah.
It's not just the tower vent, but there's also a little bit of frost going around that corner there.
And beyond this, there shouldn't be any more propeller lines because there's nothing above this that needs propellant.
I was going to ask a silly question. I was like, well, why is the tower taller then? But, you know, how would you stack the ship on top of the booster if the tower wasn't taller? Even though
Yeah.
propellant doesn't go all the way up to the top, you still need the tower to be tall enough to grab the ship with the chopsticks, swing it over with enough clearance, and then put it down on top of the booster, don't you?
Yeah. Some people saying, you take the stairs. Hey, if the elevator
I was going to
breaks,
say, it would be quite the
gotta go up
forfeit to have
those
to take the stairs.
there was a point, I think it was either ahead of flight 1 or 2. There was one of the early flights where the elevator broke on Tower 1.
Yeah.
And they had to go up the stairs all the way up.
That's insane.
That's a lot of stairs.
We have to go up one flight of stairs here at the hotel because the elevator will take us to floor 12, and then there's no elevator that goes to the roof, so we have to carry stuff up one flight of stairs. And our room is down a couple floors, but we've been going up and down the stairs. I cannot imagine climbing the stairs all the way up to the top of the tower and back down again. It's like the Starbase fitness plan. Hey, they should do like a Starbase triathlon, but one of the events should be like climbing the tower stairs and then coming back down.
Don't they do one of those things like with Empire State Building?
I don't know. They should start at South Padre. You should have to swim across the ship channel. Then you have to jog all the way down the beach to the tower. Then you end the event by climbing the stairs to the top of the tower, and there's a bell you ring or something. It's more of like a Ninja Warrior thing than a triathlon thing. I don't know if they ring bells in triathlons, do they? None of us are going to know the answer to that. None of us.
Yeah,
do you see me as a person that does that?
I am asking the wrong audience
Yeah.
how a triathlon works. Ask about cameras or something like that, not how far you have to run in a triathlon. In any event, folks, the clock is continuing, going towards that 5:30 p.m. Central Time, puts us at just about an hour and 7 minutes away from launch. We're continuing our live coverage. We're NASA Spaceflight. We are not officially NASA. We're an independent media organization who reached critical mass, a bunch of space nerds who liked cameras and rockets and technology and networking and all that sort of stuff. And we came together to do our own independent coverage of events like this. So y'all keep on showing. I never did check in to see how many likes we get. How many likes did we get when I was like mentioning the fact that there's a little thumbs icon you can click? Where do we get to?
Let me refresh, because I think it got stuck on my end. Yeah, 8.8 thousand.
8.8? Surely we can get to 10,000. Surely that's a thing that we can do. But in any event, that's who we are. You may have noticed we are not officially NASA. It says it there on the YouTube channel. It says it on our social media. We work with NASA. We're officially accredited by NASA. We have permanent badges with NASA, but we are not NASA. We don't take money from NASA. We don't work with NASA in that capacity. We don't work for NASA is the right thing to say. We work for ourselves. Really, we work for y'all, because y'all keep showing up and you're doing the super chats and you're doing the tips that come over, you're getting the merch and things like that. I don't know how we're doing on the patch sales, but we were less than 20% remaining last time. Let's go back over to Ryan. And Ryan, can you speed run a couple of member comments, like super chats and stuff like that for us real quick, please?
Well, we have plenty of tips coming in. Tater Mail saying Ryan Graphics Fund with a $50 tip.
Nice.
I'm sure I will feed that directly to the computer that runs the backdrop, and I'm sure it'll be very happy. Let's have a look through here. Thank you to Bideford as well, always in chat, helping out with the super chats. Thank you, Bideford.
Hey, Bideford.
It's greatly appreciated with the big bits of support. Mark White done a $100 super chat, literally just to say that they were enjoying the show. So seriously, thank you so much for that. I mean, it always astounds me that people do these big supers just to say, I like what I see.
Yeah.
Like, you could say anything. You could have a question, like the most complicated question in the world, you're going to give to Alex, and they just say thank you. So yeah, thank you, I should be saying. Don't thank us, thank you. It's greatly appreciated. We did have one other question from Stellar Strings Violin. They were wondering if we thought that SpaceX could go ahead with an uncrewed landing demo immediately after docking with Orion on Artemis 3. A bit more of a forward-looking question, Alex. Forward-looking question, comma, Alex.
Huh.
One of the reasonings against it is that then the thing that you land on the moon. So apparently, at least from what we could gather from some of the information in the last year or so, is that the thing that they're going to be using for the uncrewed demonstration mission is that it's going to be more like just the base ship landing, like an HLS, but without the cabin, basically. Just the propulsion systems and the guidance systems without the actual crew systems, right? And that saves them a little bit of time, for example, in the propellant aggregation time frame, because it's carrying less mass for the cabin and all those systems. It's not carrying any of that. So that means it may be able to shave like a couple of refueling trips and things like that. It might be able to save some time and get there faster, not loiter for a long time. It's also not doing a full ascent burn. It's just landing on the moon and then doing like a hop up again to ensure that it can then relight again and take off.
Take off.
And make sure that Yeah, exactly that. All of the propulsion systems, it's more like a propulsion systems test and guidance systems, I guess, because you need those, of course, for landing on the moon. So you need guidance and navigation, and of course the propulsion systems as well. So it seems like that uncrewed demonstration is more about that, whereas what you look for in an Artemis 3 situation is the actual cabin, so that the crew can go inside and do all of the things. Ideally, that's sort of the thing that you will want, especially if if the lander carries the exploration suits that are using from Axiom as well, to try them out and test them. That will be a great idea as well. The main goal per se is just the rendezvous and docking operations. Like, they don't necessarily need to go inside the lander, but it will be a great thing if they also were able to go inside the lander, and in which case then you need the actual crew cabin. And it will be a bit more of a weird thing if they were to do it than that uncrewed landing, if they already had planned to not do it with a full-on HLS lander. You know what I mean, right? So we'll see what happens. It might be that they eventually change their minds and they try to kick two birds with one stone, if you will.
Kick?
And yeah, I don't say the other thing. It's still quite bad for the birds, but at least we don't kill them.
Alex, let me summarize what I think you said.
Yeah.
For Artemis 3, if they're going to dock with Orion, they need not just the docking hardware, but they should really have the rest of the crew cabin and some stuff in there and life support, right?
Yeah.
But if you put that on Artemis 3 and then you want to undock from Orion and continue to the moon, you have more mass. If you have more mass on the rocket, you're going to need more fuel to get to the moon, right? And that means you're going to have to bring more tankers up there. Like, it's a more complex operation than just docking with Orion and being done with it. So I think really the driving factor there is going to be, are they ready to do more and more refueling ops? Do they have the vehicle stock at the time? Is the rapid reusability working the way that they think that it's supposed to? Like, are those parts of the system going to be ready that would enable topping off the tank so that you could get the rest of the way to the moon? Because you do have that extra mass for the crew cabins in the area that the crew is going to go into when they dock with Orion, assuming that the idea is that they dock with Orion and then Orion goes in, they check it out, like they're looking at a house that they may rent in the future, and they're like, all right, yep, there's closet space, and then they leave and they undock and they go back home again. All right. Well, we are 1 hour and 1 minute in 20, 18, 17, 16, 40, a few seconds away from the opening of that window. Remember, if you're just joining us, it is a window that we are working with today. We've got an hour and a half to get Starship off the pad. It's getting pretty hazy from here at the hotel. We are on top of the Margaritaville Hotel at South Padre Island, and as the sun has been baking more and more of this humidity out of the ground, it is pretty hazy between us and the rocket. The good news is the skies are very clear. I'm still seeing some puffy clouds over towards Mexico. Over inland, I see some puffy clouds forming that way as well, and then looking up the coast to the north, more puffy clouds, but out to the Gulf and then directly above us, it all looks fantastic right now. So I really am hoping that the skies stay as clear as they are right now for launch. I hope we don't get any afternoon thunderstorms that start to bubble up or any clouds that start to form, because right now it is a fantastic day for a launch after we get out of that ground haze. Of course, here from the hotel, we have a little bit of a distant view, but close up in, the camera views that you see on your screen are robotically controlled. They're remote controlled cameras. We developed our own camera systems, ways to protect the cameras, ways to remotely log into them, send them commands, how that links across the channel, all the different things that we do so that we can bring this to you. We have those robotic cameras closer in so that you can see what is happening up in places where people can't actually be. Now, speaking of cameras, I've got a little bit more work to do here. So I believe I should go and set up some of my cameras here behind me. I've got a tripod that is suspiciously not have a camera connected to it, and some encoders that don't have any cables with videos going in yet. So with an hour to go, I better take off, but we are going to introduce another person in just a second. I think we're going to roll a video first, and when we come back, we'll have some new hosts to carry you on through the rest of the launch because the clock is still ticking. Now, less than an hour. It says 59 minutes. We'll see if they get a shot at the top of the window. But I'm John Galloway with NSF. I'm going to go plug in cameras, roll the video, and I'll see y'all after launch, probably.
While Flight 12 will debut a new rocket version and a new pad, a lot of the pre-launch procedures are still the same. After all, you don't want anyone close to the rocket when it's time to go. For that reason, there are a series of maritime...
Starship's last flight happened in October. Yes, in October. And it was also the last flight of version 2, a version that gave us lots of headaches when it comes to, well, doing what Starship needs to do in order to achieve its goals in the future. It was also the last flight out of Pad 1, which gave us lots of different memories, very fun moments as well. And we gave our team a series of questions about what they hoped or expected for Flight 11 and also what they expected for the future of Starship.
What do I think will be the outcome of Flight 11?
Honestly, a great success. I think Booster 15-2 is going to do everything that it is supposed to and accurately.
I think it's going to be a good outcome. I really want to see that this is a repeatability of Flight 10. It's one thing if you do it once. It's another thing if you can repeat it over and over again.
They learned a lot from the last flight. They're doing basically the same profile. Yes, there's a few changes, but I think that this is going to be a great success.
Now, a lot of people in our team were very hopeful for Flight 11, and they were sort of right. It was a success. But there was something.
I think version 3 will go through some headaches like version 2 did, but I'm really hoping with all of the component testing that we've been seeing happening so far, that it goes a little bit at least smoother. I mean, as long as they don't blow up another ship at Massey's, it'll be fine, right? Right?
Yeah, so there was a question about whether version 3 will give us any headaches just like we got with version 2, and let's say that a lot of people did not pass that test, including myself. We also asked our team what was the thing that they were most excited about for version 3.
The thing I'm most excited about the next version of Starship is that it's going to launch from Pad 2 and be a much more efficient launch mount that hopefully gets to be reused more rapidly.
100% the brand new version of Super Heavy. While technically we are currently on the Block 2 or Generation 2, as some SpaceX engineers have officially called it, it looks very similar to what we began with in Booster 4 and then Booster 7.
What excites me about the next version of Starship is seeing the Raptor 3s in action.
I'm really looking forward to how the infrastructure holds up. They've learned so much from the current Pad 1, the OLM, the Deluge.
And I think we're going to get more pretty photographs and video from a launch mount with a big flame diverter like that.
No, Jack, we will not have pretty photographs from you because you went asteroid mining. Thanks, Astroforge. But the prediction that everybody got wrong, really wrong, when version 3 will debut.
I think we are going to see the first launch of version 3 probably in late winter, early springtime. So probably end of February, early March, probably at the earliest.
Well,
in March of 2026, maybe right around my birthday?
I think the first launch of version 3 will be February 12th at about 9:30 p.m.
I'm going to go with March 16th, but please keep in mind I'm now 11 for 11 on guessing wrong on the actual launch date.
I'm calling it right now. So I was hoping that Flight 12 would be around the holidays. You know, I'm sitting there baking cookies while I'm watching the live stream. Everyone's in their cute NSF holiday sweaters, right? But since we are still waiting on the new launch pad to be finished, I just have this feeling in my bones that Flight 12 is going to happen at the worst possible time in February.
I'd be absolutely shocked if we see them pull off the first launch of version 3 before the end of the year.
I'm gonna guess probably around the springtime frame. The pad will probably be ready way before the vehicles. I'm just excited to see a full stack on the redesigned Pad 2.
right now I think it's going to be spring, and I'm going to say 2026 because, yeah, this could be clipped. Like, oh yeah, you were right, and it's like spring of 2027. Hopefully that doesn't happen. That being said, there were two people that were actually right. It was me. I was right. Spring 2026. Also Gage. Gage also said that. Hi Gage. Now here in SF we had a very diverse set of answers, as you can see, but there was one answer where we all agreed upon. And it was the answer to the following question that I'm gonna make you, the viewer. Are you excited for today's launch? I know I am.
Even for thinking deja vu. Didn't I watch that yesterday? I've seen a few comments coming in on the chat. Yes, we did, because yesterday we were counting down for launch. There were a few little problems, but it's looking like we are going ahead today. I'm Alice Carruth. I'm joining you for the next hour or so, counting down to launch. We're currently about 54 minutes until the window opens, and we're very excited to see the version 3 about to go off. Alex, I believe you've got a bit of an update for us to keep us going for today.
Yeah, the SpaceX X account has confirmed that they are go for propellant load on time here for that to happen, hopefully in 15 minutes or so. And yeah, we can see that tower vent has returned, which is a really great indication. It's also very much very strong. That's the good indication. The roadblock has also been vacated there on the top left. You can see it already empty. So great news all across. We are on track, on time. Things are behaving the way that they should behave and that we expect. And so good to go. I guess we are just minutes away from the start of propellant load.
Just minutes, exactly. We're about 53 minutes now before that flight window opportunity opens up. We do have a 90-minute window for launch today. Fingers crossed things go to plan, because I don't know about you, but yesterday, my goodness, my heart was racing the entire time. Were we going to go? Were we not going to go? We were right there. We got all the way down to T-minus 28 seconds. I feel like today's looking a little bit better for us, though. I mean, overall indications look like it's pretty good. We're seeing all that wonderful venting. Just so you know, this is supposed to happen, right? For people that are in the chat, they're saying, what is going on? Why is it so it looks like smoke? It's not smoke, it's venting of what's going on. This is exactly what we were hoping to see. Isn't that right, Alex?
Yeah, the venting that you see is either nitrogen or oxygen, depending on the vent that you're looking at. The one on the tower, its gas is oxygen. Technically, what you see is the condensation from the atmospheric humidity turning into a cloud, basically, just like clouds in the air that you see sort of passing by and whatnot. That's condensation of water in the air, and that condensation happens because they're venting oxygen that is very cold, and so that's what you see in there. But yeah, very basically that's all that you can see. It's not smoke, there's nothing burning or anything like that. Sometimes you see a lot of this venting going on. It's normal. It looks very weird, but it's normal. It's just that they're venting more in this case. It sort of depends from day to day, different atmospheric condition, the winds, etc., etc. It can seem as if it's more than what it's actually happening, but it's just a trick of the eye, basically.
Absolutely, and we're getting very close now to that go no go poll, which is we're expecting around 50 minutes ahead of that flight window opening. Again, that window of opportunity opens at 5:30 local time and goes until 7 o'clock tonight. So we've got plenty of time to be able to see this vehicle in action. Ryan, you're back with us. What is it you're most looking forward to with the flight today?
That's a great question. I just want to see things go well. Is that too much to ask for? I just want to see that, we spent most of 2025 with Starships doing loop-de-loops in the sky and, with engine failures and loss of attitude control, and we got a couple good flights out of version 2, but I really just want this to work. SpaceX have put so much effort, so much time into this vehicle. I just don't want them to see, the kind of silly schoolboy errors that we've seen with Starship before, where they've put, kind of rushed something or just not done something correctly. But this time around, they're, putting in so much effort with the numerous test tanks they have at their test site, doing, double-digit number of tests on those test tanks to make sure that every component they can think of has test